Now, it's hardly news that Hillary Clinton is controlling. She distrusts Republicans and the news media, and she likes to do things her way. The big question, though, driving national politics at the moment is whether these instincts took her over the line when she was Secretary of State, leading to her decision to use a private email server, not a government account, and perhaps most significantly, to keep it under her control at her private residence. Team Clinton says, no big deal. Everything federal law and regulation mandates is preserved, safe and sound, they say. But critics wonder whether to trust that answer, whether her way was a deliberate strategy to delay or defy legitimate requests for documents about taxpayer business, and whether her way put sensitive materials at higher risk of hacking. So, Ron Fournier, you've covered the Clintons for a very long time, and you have this debate. The Team Clinton says, listen, you're blowing this out of proportion. It's a media feeding frenzy. It's a Republican feeding frenzy. Critics say, no, wait a minute. We don't know so many things.
I'm going to push back on you. It's not critics say. It's anybody with a brain in their head and isn't in the tank for the Clintons. I mean, this is a very clear violation of the regulations. It's a very clear violation of the spirit of the regulations. Those are our emails. They're not hers. The server should be put forward. She never should have tried to skirt it. It's not even a matter of debate. This is an issue she's created. It's an issue she can solve. I'll go back. Let's go way back to 2 weeks ago, to the foundation. The fact that the foundation was taking foreign money. I think that's actually even a bigger controversy, because we all grew up around the Watergate hearings, learning that you have to follow the money, follow the money, follow the money. I think there's some really big questions about the nexus between foreign donations to the foundation, corporate donations to the foundation, and potential conflicts of interest. And for us to follow that money, we have to go through those emails. Those emails should be a public document.
Those emails should be a public document. Lisa, the President of the United States, when he was campaigning, and then when he took office, they lined up everybody in a room. They all raised their hands. They took oaths. He said it would be the most transparent administration in history. We do know that the White House sent word early on that they wanted people. Look, people in the Bush administration did this too. Let's make that clear. This is not a brand new practice. Hillary Clinton was not alone in using a private account. The question is whether she should have known better, whether she should have followed her boss's direction, who said, my preference is you use a government account, and whether you be transparent. She's in control of the records, which makes it hard to say she's transparent. Here's the President of the United States talking to CBS's Bill Plant about whether Bill Plant asked the President whether he thinks Hillary Clinton kept her promise.
Well, you say that you have the most transparent administration ever. You said it again just a couple of weeks ago.
It's true.
How does this square with that?
Well, I think that the fact that she's going to be putting them forward will allow us to make sure that people have the information they need.
I didn't really I wish you hadn't asked that question, but she will be transparent, so that meets the test? He's being nice, right?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly has raised a lot of questions for the interaction. This was the first real test of how the nascent Hillary campaign will interact with the White House, and it doesn't really seem like they passed it with flying colors. But I think there are certainly a lot of substantive policy questions, like the kind you're raising, but there are also political strategy questions here. Like, one thing we learned this week was that the White House knew about this or found out about this in August, which frankly is a little bit late, but it's still an awfully long time before March, and an awfully long time before she was talking about launching a formal campaign. So I think a lot of Democrats around town have been saying to me and saying to other people, why wasn't this handled back in August, months and months and months before April, which is when she's talking about coming out with something formally? Get this out there, deal with it, have this buffer of more than 6 months to have these things processed through. Instead, you have this whole scandal, all these questions coming out just weeks before she's ready to...
Real quickly, the president wasn't being nice. That was a cover-up by semantics. The only answer he should be given is, I want that server back, Secretary Clinton. That belongs to the people. That belongs to this administration. Give me that server. That's the right answer.
But not the first time that Democrats have had public support, private trepidation when the Clintons are involved in a conversation that involves secrecy.
No doubt about it. And what this has given Republicans on a silver platter is a new reason to ask these questions. People had largely forgotten about the Benghazi Committee. That's why this is all coming up right now. This has fueled what was essentially an old fire. But this is now going to go on forever because there are new subpoenas, new investigations. So exactly what's happening now, there is going to, throughout the duration of her presidential campaign, there's likely to be a congressional investigation. You're right. Had they sort of dealt with this 6 months ago, it would not be as hot of an issue at this point. So fueling these old flames, to me, seems so politically questionable why they thought that this would not explode at this point.
And this is Christmas in March for Republicans. Christmas came late this year if you're in the House Republican Party.
Christmas in March, I like that. One of the questions, though, you mentioned Bill Clinton and the foreign contributions. One of the questions, everything she does will be reflected on him as well, and his history, and his secrecy, and the investigations about him. And that's what Republicans are hoping, that people just say, we don't want to go back to that. We don't want to go back to the Clinton days. You mentioned the foreign contributions, and it is mind-numbing to me that when she was Secretary of State, the President of the United States said, can't do this, no foreign contributions. And for the most part, they agreed. There were some exceptions to that rule. Then she left office, and they started taking contributions again from foreign governments. Listen to Bill Clinton here saying, look, we're transparent about this. Don't worry.
Do I agree with all the foreign policy of Saudi Arabia? No. My theory about all this is disclose everything and then let people make their judgments. But I think there are more than 300,000 people, you should know this, who in some form or fashion have contributed money to the work we've done over the years. And I believe we've done a lot more good than harm.
Great.
And I believe this is a good thing.
Yeah, there is no question the Clinton Foundation does some remarkable work around the world. However, he says disclose everything and everything's okay. If it was just him, just a former president, I could process that. But you know the whole time, Juana, that she is, A, she was Secretary of State, and B, she's probably going to run for president. Isn't that a higher standard?
I think it absolutely is, and you're seeing that right now. I mean, if there's not more disclosure, that's going to pose a problem for them. And of course, this is just like, these are questions you don't want to be answering as you're launching a presidential campaign. And we, of course, all assume that Hillary Clinton will run for president. So I think that's the big question here, is that she's forced in this kind of uncomfortable situation. It gives Republicans, particularly Republicans in the House, a lot of ammunition to run with. And I think that this is going to dominate a lot of what she was probably hoped would be a clean launch for a campaign.
John, as you know, there's been a lot of whispers about pay to play. From inside the Clinton team, pay to play at the foundation. Those are going to become shouts unless she releases all those emails.